Hey everybody, welcome back to another Deck Profile Friday. We got a pretty exciting one for you today, as um, some of you who may know, if you've watched the channel for a while, that one of my favorite types ever in the Pokemon TCG is Fire, and actually even to the games, right? To any of the games, Fire's been one of my favorite types, if not my favorite type of all time. And the deck profile that we'll be covering today actually is mostly a Fire deck, right? And in fact, it is one of the best Fire decks that has ever been created in the Pokemon TCG, right? And I'm talking about the 2004 Pokemon format, which was from Eon to HL on. So that would be Expedition to EX Hidden Legends, right? And that format was actually really good. And the Fire type that I'm talking about, is Blaziken. The Ruby Sapphire final evolution starter of Torchic, right? And what an awesome Pokemon he is. What an awesome deck it is. It's, it won so many tournaments in that year since it came out, right? Well, not since, the EX came out in Team Magma versus Team Aqua, right? The original Blaziken came out in EX Ruby Sapphire, and so the Team Magma, Team Aqua set was about three sets after Ruby Sapphire. That's when it finally got the EX, and in the meantime, it was the Gardevoir that was actually dominating, because the Gardevoir came out in Ruby Sapphire, the energy acceleration one with the Psy Shadow Pokepower, and then it got the EX in EX Sandstorm. So when EX Team Magma Team Aqua came out, that's when we started seeing Blaziken just absolutely dominate. Swampert joined, right? And then don't get me started on the Team Magma surprise at 2004 Worlds that year. So, but without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. So we have 2 Blaziken EX, 3 Blaziken, 2 Combusken, and then 4 Torchic, right? So this is like the main part of the deck here, right? Blaziken's an absolute monster. Torchic, it all starts off with Torchic, right? 50 HP, weak to water, which is, obviously it's a fire type, right? No resistance, which obviously it's a fire type. Retreat cost of 1, which is good. And then Singe, flip a coin of heads, the defending Pokemon is now burned. Pretty cool. All right. Combusken here. Now, my opinion, this is the better Combusken. I think that the other one has 70 HP, but it attacks a little bit faster. I think it's got an energy, a fire energy for 20, and then its second attack, I think does something like 40 or something like that. This one here has 80 HP, right? Same weakness, resistance, and retreat cost. Natural Cure, though, is actually really good, as it can heal special conditions on it when you attach a fire energy. And then its attack clear for 2 energies, flip a coin if heads. If tails, this attack does nothing and it does 50 damage. So high risk, high reward, but it's mostly there for the HP. And then we on to the Blaziken, the regular one from Ruby Sapphire. This is an absolute monster too. 100 HP, 2 retreat, which is pretty standard for Blaziken. Weak to water, no resistance, obviously. But where this card really shines is in its ability, or Pokepower Fire Starter, Once during your turn before you attack, you may attach a fire energy card from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon, right? It can be any benched Pokemon, right? And then this power can't be used if it's affected by a special condition. So it's different. It was different back then than it is now, because now abilities can still be used even if they have a special condition, right? Back then they couldn't, right? So this is different, right? And then its attack there is actually really good. Fire Stream for a fire and 2 colorless. Discard a fire energy card attached to Blaziken. If you do, this attack does 10 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. It does 50. So it's a decent little spread attack, right? So that's really cool. That's one of the big parts of the deck. The other big part of the deck is obviously the EX, right? This is what made the deck really good, right? 150 HP, retreat cost of 2, resistance to nothing, a dual weakness. So it was actually, weak to 2 dominant types in the game, which is obviously Swampert, right? Not Swampert EX because it's fighting, but Swampert, the regular one from Ruby Sapphire, because it's water. And then both Gardevoir and Gardevoir EX, right? It is weak to that. So that's something that you got to be very wary about, right? Blaze Kick there for 2 energy. Flip coin if heads, this attack does 30 damage plus 20 more damage. If tails, this attack does 30 and the defending Pokemon is now burned, right? So back then, right, it was a little bit different because right now, in between turns, you take an automatic 20, right? And you flip a coin. If heads, you are no longer burned. But back then, you stay burned. When you got burned, you stay burned until you either put it back into your hand or retreated to the bench, right? And every time you flip tails, right, you would take 20 damage, right? So that was interesting. But the main part, the other attack, this is the reason why we play it, is Volcanic Ash for 2 fire, 2 colorless. Discard 2 energy attached to Blaziken EX, and then do 100 to any Pokemon on the board, right? This is great at targeting things on the bench, targeting other Blazikens, right? Targeting their draw and Delcatty, right? Lots of decks play Delcatty, Gardevoir, Swampert, right? It could target things like Magma's Camerupt, the energy acceleration with that, or the Magma's Claydol, the way that they move their energy, right? It can target a lot of things, right? And this is what made the deck actually really good. So that is it. And then we go to the support Pokemon, right? We got a 2 Delcatty and 2 Skitty, as well as 1 Team Aqua's Manectric and 1 Team Aqua's Electrike. So with the Skitty there, it's pretty much everything that you would see in a Skitty. This is the better one here. Minor Handwriting. Search your deck for 2 basic energy. Show them to your opponent. Put in your hand. Its first attack, Lullaby, as well as not too bad, right? Minor Handwriting is actually really good because you're able to use combat with Delcatty there, which its Pokepower says you can discard an energy card from your hand. If you do, draw 3 cards, right? Really good. It's really, really good. And everything else with the Delcatty and Skitty are average. HP, retreat cost, weakness, and resistance, right? Pretty much average. Aqua's Electrike there, right? Once again, that's pretty average. Resistance to metal is pretty obvious for a lightning type, right? Self-charge, which is really good. Attach an energy card from your hand to it, right? So this is it. You're able to get more energy on the board. Its attack there is okay. But it's mainly there for Aqua's Manectric, right? with the Power Shift ability, or Poke Power, pardon me, not ability. Right, this is not Sword and Shield, Sun and Moon, or X and Y, or Black and White. This is Ruby Sapphire, right? So Power Shifter, once during your turn, you may move any number of basic energy attached to one of your Pokemon that with Team Aqua in its name, or to another Pokemon, right? So this is the prime candidate for Fire Starter, right? You want to be able to Fire Starter onto this and then move it to the Blaziken EX and keep doing that turn after turn, 100 snipe, turn after turn after turn after turn after turn, right? That's the goal with the deck, right? It does also have a backup attack, which we'll get into later, right? Its attack there, Thunder Spark, 50, does 10 damage to each bench Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's, that has any energy cards attached to it, right? So that's pretty cool, right? A lot of decks like Gardevoir, rely on getting multiple energy cards in play, right? So it's a decent little counter. And that is it for the support Pokemon. Now we have the secondary attackers, which we have a Blossom line, right? So Oddish and Blossom, and a single Rayquaza EX, right? Oddish there is obviously getting to get into Blossom, and everything about it is pretty average. Blossom there is an absolute monster. This is what kind of walls the Walrein Milotic, right? That's another really, or not, I guess not really, but fairly popular deck for 2004. Right, it's all water type, and the big problem with that deck was its damage output. It can only do a max of 50, right? So with Blossom here, you pretty much just send it active, right? And then you wall them because of the resistance and the heal dance. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may remove 2 damage counters from one of your Pokemon. You can't use more than 1 heal dance Pokepower each turn. So you just remove it from itself, right? So that 50 is 0, right? It also hits Team Magma's Groudon for weakness, right? Because it's got a grass weakness, because it's a ground type, right? So that Solar Beam will hit for 100, which is enough to obviously knock it out. And then the Rayquaza, right? The Rayquaza, the one beast that we have in the deck, right? When you want something knocked out, right? A big hit point Pokemon, this is what you're going to do it with, right? That, Dragon Burst attack is crazy. Like, it says discard either all fire or all lightning energy attached to Rayquaza EX, and it does 40 damage times the number of that energy you discarded. So if you discard 4, that's 160 damage, which pretty much knocks out anything in the format at that time, right? It costs 5 energy to do it, but it's worth it, right? And yeah, it's an absolute monster. Everything else about it is pretty average. Their retreat costs, weakness, and resistances are cool. They're okay, right? Water and fighting resistance is not too bad. It pretty much walls Swampert there with the EX and the regular Swampert, right, from Ruby Sapphire. Spiral Growth there is okay. You can attach energies for every heads that you get with a coin flip. And yeah, that's the last Pokemon. So on to the trainer supporters and stadiums. We play a lot of supporters. This is probably one of the most heavy supporter formats that I've ever seen in the game, right? And, oh, pardon me, actually, we do have one more Pokemon, right? we have Dunsparce here. Dunsparce is the best starter in this whole format, right? Strike and run, search your deck for 3 basics and put them onto your bench. Shuffle your deck after it, and then you may switch Dunsparce with one of your bench Pokemon. Like, this is the one of the best starters of all time. Like, every deck, practically every deck in this format started off with Dunsparce. So, really, really cool. Sudden Flash there is okay, right? Oftentimes you stalled with it, right? While just trying to set up your board, right? Try to knock out your opponent's Dunsparce or whatever, right? Until you got set up, so. And then everything else, HP, retreat cost, resistance, weaknesses, average. Now on to the trainers, supporters, and stadiums. So like I said, this is the most supporter-heavy format I've ever seen, right? We do play a play set of Oracle, right? 4 Oracle. We play 3 Copycat, 3 Steven's Advice, 2 Pokemon Fan Club, a Professor Elm's Training Method, and 8 Town Volunteers, right? So Oracle is probably the best supporter in the game at this time. So obviously the rule of playing only 1 supporter per turn still exists, right? It exists to this day, right? That's how long this dates back. Choose 2 cards from your deck, and then shuffle the rest of your deck. Put the chosen cards on top of your deck in any order, right? So the card by itself is okay, but when you combo it with something like Delcatty from Ruby Sapphire with that energy draw, that's a double computer search every turn. That's an Arceus V-Star, right? Every turn. Or, I guess not every turn, but, for the 4 Oracles that you have in the deck, you can do that 4 turns in a game, right? That's crazy. Like, that's so good. And it was practically a 4 of in every deck. This card is crazy expensive right now. I don't even know how much it is, but I ended up paying for these. I think it was like $10 or $15 a piece. Probably about 12 years ago, right? So I've had this deck built for a long time, and I'm so glad I did that, because this deck is worth a lot of money. And this is not a World Championship deck, right? This is all original cards, right? And they're all like near mint, lightly played condition, so it's worth quite a bit. Copycat, we have that in the format right now. Shuffle your hand into your deck, and then draw a number of cards equal to the cards in your opponent's hands. Steven's Advice. So this is the better version of Steven's Advice. So it did get nerfed in EX Power Keepers, right? It says draw a number of cards up to the number of your opponent's Pokemon play. And then it says if you have more than 7 cards in your hand, right, including this one, you can't play this card. So the EX Power Keepers one says if you have 7 cards in your hand, including this one, you can't play this card, right? So it dropped, right? And actually, I think we have it right here as well, right? It says if you have... Pardon me. Yeah, if you have 7 or more cards in your hand, you can't play this card. Yeah. Okay, it's practically the same, right? Anyway, it's one of the best draw cards in the game, right? It's actually probably better than Copycat. I do only have 3, right? Because I'm trying to get a 4th foil one. But, really good. Pokemon Fan Club is a nice little setup card here that I have in here, right? This is not the world's list, right? This is not Chris Phillips' second place list. This is my own list, right? And between Fan Club and Dunsparce, getting that turn 2 setup is actually really Easy. Elba's training method is great for searching out your evolutions, right? It's a neat little one of. You could maybe play 2 if you wanted, but I like 1. Town volunteers there. You can put 5 baby basic evolution or basic energy cards from your discard pile into your deck, right? So it's a really good recovery card. This is probably one of the best ones. The one that does come to mind that could challenge it is Hold On Farmer, right? Back in the Delta series, Delta species. Pardon me, I think it was Delta species set, right? So that's the one that could challenge it, and yeah, that's the supporters. So then, lastly, we do have the trainers, right? This deck does not play any stadiums, right? You could play stadiums in here, right? I would probably suggest maybe high pressure system if you wanted to, right? Because I think it gives it free retreat, right? And I'm not really too sure what else you could play in here, but I think high pressure system is probably the best one. The other trainers we got is 4 rare candy and 2 switch, right? I think Warp Point was in this format as well. I think it came out in one of the E series, right? Expedition, Aquapolis, or Skyridge, so you could play that in here if you wanted. But you know, pretty obvious. Try to get to your stage 2s, right? And you can, and I believe you can do it right away in this format too. Like as soon as you play the Torchic, you can rare candy right to Blaziken or the other evolutions. And then Switch, is one of the oldest cards that's ever been in the format. So I don't think there's ever been a format where it hasn't been in. So yeah, that's that. And then to the energy. So lastly, the energy cards, right? We do play $11 fire, 2 lightning, 2 multi, and a warp energy. So the fire is obviously for the Blaziken. The lightning energy is for the Rayquaza and the Manectric, right? The multi-energy, you can use that with the Rayquaza and the Manectric as well, but it's there for the Blossom, mostly. And then the warp energy provides a way to switch out of the active, right? If, it's just another way to just get out there, and it provides an energy. So, really cool. So that is the deck, everybody. Yeah, this is an absolute monster of a deck. It absolutely get destroyed in the format right now. But, yeah, let me know what you think. And, yeah, really, really awesome here. This is the main guy. And, yeah, what an awesome deck to play. So, yeah, let me know what you think. And, if you like what you're seeing and hearing, like and subscribe and all that stuff. And, once again, on Sunday, we'll have another opening, and then next Wednesday, some more live gameplay, right? And then next Friday will be another deck profile Friday. So, all right, awesome, thank you, and see you in the next video.